Hello everybody, GL1 here, and welcome to my online toy museum. Today we're going to talk about some really old toy cars, 50, 60 years old. I'm going to start with the UK's Lesney toys. I only have 4 of them. All right, so these were made in England, and they were popular between 1947 until the economy tanked in England and the company went defunct and was bought out till in 1982. So the company was founded by a couple of guys, Leslie Smith and Rodney Smith, who were not related. They were schoolboy friends and also went into the Royal Navy together and served in World War II. So the name Lesney comes from Leslie Smith, the first 3 letters, and Rodney, the last 3 letters of his first name. So we get Lesney. And so these 4 toys here are British, and they had a little bit of a slow start, but then in 1953, a metal royal stagecoach was made for the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II and was a huge success, sold over 1 million toys, and that really put them on the map. Later, they partnered with a guy named Peter Odell, and his daughter would bring things to school. And what they were allowed, the teacher only allowed them to bring things to school that would fit in a matchbox. And what she would bring to school often was spiders and other little creepy crawlers. And her dad, Mr. Odell, promised that he would make something that would fit inside a matchbox, a toy car. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with these boxes, but they're making these again. But these are the original Matchbox housings for the cars. So they would come inside a little box like this, and here, nice wrapped up in paper, have your little Matchbox car, and there you go. Really nice, nicely made car, a lot of finely detailed body parts. And the way these cars are made is a stamped metal, right? And later, originally they did not have plastic parts except for the wheels. So the interior of the car and the windshield and the bottom, that was all added later with the toys, somewhere in the 70s and 80s. But so originally, let me show you these here. It would generally compose, if it was a 4-wheeled vehicle, it would compose of 7 parts. You would have the same thing with Tootsie Toy. These are all Tootsie Toys, these other ones here, and we'll talk about them. But it would compose of a metal body, 2 axles, and 4 wheels. Now, this is actually a little more complex. It's 8 parts because you have another bottom piece. So Lesney was a little bit more complex than the Tootsie Toys over here. So they would definitely have more parts. But this is a 1964 Jumbo Taylor crane, and it would tow another piece. I don't know if I ever had that. I remember playing with this a really long time ago, and it always looked like a little bulldog to me, with those big wheels. I don't think I ever knew what it was too. But here we have another Lesney toy, and this is the 8-wheel crane. And you can see it actually just says on the bottom, 8-wheel crane. And it'll tell you, it doesn't have the date on it, but you can see Lesney there, made in England. And, any of you familiar with these hard plastic wheels? So these toys they're definitely like 50 years old. And here we go. We have the pipe truck. All right. And what I used to do with the pipe truck is, you can see it has a little plastic there, actually. So this is probably in the 70s and 80s, so not quite as old. I'd take a little car and I'd put it on there. And that one fits on there real well, that Roadster. And then another one of my favorites, I love dump trucks because they look like rhinos or triceratops to me. But what I loved about this is not only you had the dumping part, this is a 1964 dump truck, but the double wheels in the back, got the dualies, and they rolled individually. So I thought that was, even as a little kid, I thought that was cool that it had that. And, then it has this tracking piece of metal here, tracking to keep it on track, like a hydraulic lift, actually. And then, look, you could see how the front, it's shifted over, like one of those modern quarry dump trucks, right? So this is just an older, not much has changed, has it? I mean, when you look at the quarry dump trucks and you look at this, it's still really very similar in how, the design to maximize what it can lift. All right, and so now I'm going to get to, whoa, by the way, so Matchbox now is currently owned by Mattel, which also owns Hot Wheels. And actually, let me show you a little difference here. I talked about this in another show. So both Matchbox and Hot Wheels are owned by Mattel, but Matchbox always faces to the left in the package, Mattel always to the right. So if you ever never noticed that, you can go to the store and check that out. Guaranteed for life. I don't know if anyone, well, actually, these always say guaranteed for life. I don't, you're going to bring it back and go, hey, it broke, and I have another 2000 first edition Elise 340R. But isn't that some car, isn't it? So thought that was pretty cool. And then the Koenigsegg Gamera 2021, beautiful car too, right? So, we will be having another, well, I have a lot of races planned actually in the future, car races. We did have monster trucks, and I've got more of those ready to go too. All right, so here we go. We have the Tootsie toys. So the Tootsie Toy Company was started in Chicago, Illinois, all the way back in 1890 by the Doust brothers. And it was named after their granddaughter, Toots. So the Tootsie Toy Company, though, really became more popular later in the 1920s, making cars, trucks, military toys, and weapons and things like that. And they really were known for their 7 parts. You have the body, 2 axles, 4 wheels. Very simple. And do you guys ever remember getting a metal toy in a Cracker Jack box? I do once. I got a little truck, and I lost it, but I really liked that. They also made dollhouse furniture and the Monopoly pieces. So I'm going to go over these Tootsie Toy cars here. Now, I played so many hours with these, and I loved them, and I was frustrated with them because I had Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars too, and I always wondered, why did they make these cars? I didn't realize that I already had cars that were pretty old. I don't know if, they were my brothers, or, there were just so many. It was just easy to get cars then. I remember you'd go to a convenience store, and they'd have like a little plastic card, and then you'd get a bunch of cars in them. Even, I think, into the early 80s or certainly the late 70s. But I looked up these cars and what they are, and you can see right away that this is a Mercedes. And actually, it's a Mercedes 450 SL from the 1970s. I looked at the pictures of the various 450 SLs, and I'm pretty sure that it does come close to, I think, like a 1974 Mercedes SL. Now, you can even see that there's a little bit of the ridges in the lights, and it really looks a lot like a Mercedes that you would get today. And you have to be very perceptive when you're looking at these. You see the double lights. You have to look at how the windshield is positioned in order to tell which car they intended it to be, because they're really not exact matches. So this is one in particular. Now, I always thought this car was ugly. I would have races with my cars and bang them together. They would fight, and this was always one of the bad guys. So, unfortunately, the 1963 Fiat Abarth 1000 GT. So how did I arrive at that this is that car? Because if you look at the pictures of it, it doesn't look much like it. I don't know if they couldn't stamp it too well, but I'm sure it is meant to be that car. Why? Because of how upright the windshield is, on the various Abarths. So I think it comes closest to 1963. And on this, they have the engine is not covered, but it is on the real car. So I guess they wanted to lift that off. And so this presumably would be my oldest one, and then later, they would, I got another one, and it would, it's blue. So there's that. Here is the Miller's Snake Wedge Dragster from 1974. So a little history on that. So the Dragster engines were usually further back. Look, you can see even this is where the parachute would be to slow the car down. But this guy thought, too many dragsters are unsafe. And so I'm going to move the engine a little further up in front of the back wheels to give it more stability and put bicycle tires on the front. Now, clearly these don't look like bicycle tires. And actually, this doesn't roll that well. But it didn't actually turn into anything appreciably better in races like he had thought it might. So, but he tried. He had to do something. So, and then it'll tell you on the bottom, it's the Wedge Dragster, and you can even see the little steering wheel in there, right? All right, and this is a 1953 Mg Roadster. So, got that old fella there. And then I have that in pink too. So same car, right? So that's a British car. And let's see. In the 70s and 80s is when they added the plastic interiors. All right, so we know these are before that because of that. So here's another Roadster. I couldn't find what it was, but I do remember having I think it was a Matchbox car where the back seat would fold down and you could fold it up. So that's how this car really was made. That would fold down. It would be two-seater and then fold that back for, luggage or a couple extra people. And look, we have the engine exposed there because it's a hot rod, right? And this, I guess, is some kind of custom car. And I don't know, it looked kind of doofy to me. So this was also one of the cars that was not one of the good guys. And this, I had no idea what this was until I looked this up. This is a 1965 Porsche 911. Why 1965? Because of the upright. This upright here. The year after, it was angled more. So 1965. And you can tell it is a Porsche. And look, you can even tow. Would you tow with a Porsche today? I don't think so. But you can see the front. It definitely looks like a Porsche. And you can see it looks like there's even the little Porsche symbol right there. So pretty cool. And then you have tow truck, 1960s tow truck. Sanford and Son looking tow truck. All right. And then we have a military Jeep back here. World War II military Jeep. Just your basic Jeep. I've been in one of these. And I'll tell you, the torque on these things, the hill, it went up a hill just like a dirt hill. Just like that, like climb right up it. It was really amazing. Powerful little thing. And you could see even, it's military. See, it has a star. So it looks like my fingers didn't wear that down totally. Playing with that over the years. And you can see that the windshield is folded down. You could do that on the old Jeeps. And look, you have a steering wheel, but you have like the stick shift. And I guess your pull-up brake would be there. So pretty neat little details there. This one here, this is an English Lone Star Tough Toy. So it's not a Tootsie toy, but I love this little truck. You have a little bit of the extra piece on here, right? So if it was just a truck like that, but they added this metal piece on there, and I love the little cute wheels So, pretty old thing. Paint held up pretty well. A lot of these cars, or all of them actually, it's difficult to assess the value to me. Sometimes I'll see them for $8 or $15 a piece, and then someone will sell a whole bunch of them for like $15, $25. So it's really tough, and condition doesn't seem to matter that much. I mean, somebody will be selling something like this for $8 or $15, and someone will sell maybe like this many of them for $15. So, but you can find them pretty easily. This is a Baja Runabout. It says that on the bottom, and if you look, it has little eyes on it there. And look, you have your engine in the rear. And of course, towing. Everything towed. I guess there was a lot to take around. Didn't have a lot of storage on the cars, right? I'm saving a couple of my favorites for last. All right, so here we have the 1950s Ford Semi, and I don't think I ever had the back for this either. But look at that. And you could still see trucks like that, right? Old trucks on the road, and pretty neat. And they always, the axles would catch, carpet on them to pull that off. But what's going to be fun is racing these down my racetrack and just see what happens, right? We will end up doing that. I have so many races planned. I have so many cars of different kinds. But I have to parcel those races out little by little. I don't want it to turn into the race car channel only. 1969 Tootsie Toy. So another dune buggy kind of thing, right? Actually looks sort of like a LOL doll car, actually. They have something very similar. And this one, I guess something can tow this. And look, you have, I guess you'd have a camper, right? And then you'd put it behind your camper and take it, go to the beach, and then you'd get out. And, still the 7 parts. So, you'd have, the axle just pinched together and take the metal, put it in there, and then have, maybe a person with pliers and just pinch that together. Can't pinch die-cast metal too hard or it'll snap. It doesn't have a lot of flexibility. If you heat it up, you could do it. And look, there's your exhaust. So, all right. All right, so my favorite cars, my second favorite was this one, 1966 Le Mans Ford GT40. And I would have never known that until I looked it up. But now that I look at it and I go, yeah, all right, I can see it has the reverse scoop. The engine was in the back. It looks like, here is where the one door would lift up. So you have that tracking there. That always looked like a piece of hair got stuck in the paint. But I think it's meant to be the door. That door would lift up. And you can see it has the lights there. And there you go in the back. And, I guess they did the best they could at stamping out the metal. But again, the angles and everything, I'm like, it looks pretty much like the 1966 Le Mans Ford GT. So I guess they did a pretty good job. So, and it says it's a Ford on the bottom, GT, see? GT Ford. So, pretty cool. And when I was little, I didn't read anything. I didn't look it up. Here's my favorite car, and I believe I painted this silver. It was blue. This is the Cheetah car, Bill Thomas's Cheetah car, which was made somewhere between 1963 and 66, based on a Corvette, and it was a competitor to the Shelby Cobra. So the Tootsie Toys were made in Hong Kong or the U.S. They were made in Chicago, but later they were made often in Hong Kong. They also went out of business and were acquired by Lloyd International. And so there you go, the Cheetah car. So, big engine, little car, very fast. And you could see it had like the gull wing doors. Unfortunately, the metal, you could see it broke there. I remember being sad about that. And I painted this silver because I have some very old Hot Wheels cars that were always the good guys, and they were called the Silvers. And I wanted my favorite car to be with the Silvers on their team. And we will actually, I will break out the Silvers because I still have them. I have had those cars for like 40 years, and actually more than 40 years. And some of them are actually pretty valuable. So, all right. Well, thank you for watching Tootsie Toys and the Lesney early Matchbox toys. And I just, as a little bonus, I have these micro machines. This is out right now, the Bugatti Track Day. Now the first set I had are these Bugattis. Bugatti Type 35, 1992 EB110 Super Sport, fantastic car. I have that in a larger, like an 8-inch model. And then the 2019 Bugatti Divo. So, and I have actually a one-off, even fancier version of the Divo as a radio-controlled car. And I did show that on a show a long time ago, but I'll probably show that again because I have a lot of RC cars left to show. But you'll see that the Bugattis, they all have sort of the arc in the front. And so this set here came out, and now you have the full set of Bugattis. You have the Type 35, and look at how on this one you can really see, you know, this one's just chromed. You see the wheel like under the cover, the extra wheel. But this one, you know, you can really see it out there. And then you have the Veyron, the EB110 again, the Divo, and then the Chiron. So I think actually the order oldest, then next, then Veyron, Chiron, Divo. Divo is the newest one. So basically the wings keep getting more and more significant in the back. That's one way to tell. So, and what's really nice is if you don't want to open this, and boy do I want to open it, you can see it has like a little mirror in the back. So if you want to see the back of the cars, so you can see how fancy the Divo is in the back. You know, they kind of scaled down the Chiron, kind of made it look more sleek because the Veyron came out before it. And it looks like they sort of wanted to simplify the design a little bit, make it more wedge-shaped in the front and simplify it in the back. But I'm really tempted to open these and race them on the track. What is great is, surprisingly, Micro Machines race quite well on that big Hot Wheels track. So I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but it might be something I end up doing. This right now, you can get that for $12.99 at Target. So, all right, I will be talking to you soon. Thanks for watching. Take care.